TMG.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, obviously you brought up Chris Haynes, elite level analyst and reporter from Yahoo Sports. He's famed, not famed, but he's got a nice little podcast there, posted up, very good one. And obviously had one Julius Erving, a top 15 player of all time.
Oh my God. Are we actually going to give what Dr. J said credence? Dr. J was talking like he's a young kid. He was talking from the perspective of him as a young kid. He's saying, these are the players that I grew up with. These are the players that I faced. This is why they're better than any of the new generation. That's fine. Like, I'll allow him to give his list. But the fact that you don't have MJ first team, you don't have LeBron on the list, it just really doesn't matter to me. It doesn't have a lot of credence to me. How can you say LeBron is not in your all-time team? Okay, that's fine. I just see it as it is. It's the team of the 80s, bro. That's all you know.
He said that because LeBron is the leader of the player-generated super.
So do we need to get started on him?
Player-generated super teams.
Do we need to get started? So what's better? The GM picking the super team or the players?
According to him, it's the GM. Or the one more honourable way is the GM. So that's why.
That's so dumb.
That's why he penalised LeBron because
So for him having more control and more power, he penalised him. Is that the issue? So I can control my own destiny. I should let my destiny be controlled by someone else for me to be great. In fact, it shows more greatness that I can control where I want to be.
I think it's a bit of sour grapes that the fact he wasn't able to do the same as LeBron was able to do. I feel that's the same with a lot of the older heads, that they weren't able to do the same what LeBron's doing now in terms of controlling his own destiny. Because if they did have the opportunity, even though most of them will vehemently deny it, I believe they would have taken the opportunity because especially in the NBA, how much people value wins and chips. You know, if you have the opportunity to choose your scenario that best fits you, and if you're smart enough to know what scenario best fits you, why wouldn't you take that opportunity instead of relying on a GM in a back office which may not be competent to put the right pieces around you?
That's true. I hear them. They're just jealous. They're jealous of where basketball's become. But we should be giving them credit because if it wasn't for them, then we wouldn't be in a situation of power. Like they are the people that built this league, but yet they're resentful for what it's become. Yeah. Very, very weird.
It's strange. I mean, yeah, Julius Erving, his first team was this place he grew up in Maroon, so people in the 60s. But like he had Jerry West, he had Oscar Robertson, Elgin Baylor, Wilt Chamberlain, Bill Russell. 3 guys on the same team. They were on a super team. Obviously not player generated, but they were in their own super team of their own. Then in the 80s, you obviously had the likes of Jordan, Magic, Bird, Karl Malone, and Kareem. My only issue with the second team is, the first team, Jerry West shouldn't be there. Elgin Baylor shouldn't be there. They're legends in their own right, but they're struggling to make top 20 all time. Kareem and Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain, fair enough. Who's the other one? Oscar Robertson, you could have an outside shot for him. But my issue with the second team, even though that team's a lot better, because they're players who are apart from Jordan, Magic, Bird, and Kareem, guys in most people's top 10, my issue is Karl Malone.
Karl Malone, when you look in his, you're gonna have kids telling you that, wow, Karl Malone is what? Top 5 greatest players. Look at his stats. Oh, Karl Malone's stats are crazy. If you just look at, there's going to be people that look at basketball from a purely statistical viewpoint, and when they see Karl Malone's stats, you'll be thinking, how was this guy not the best player of his generation? Yeah, and that's what it is.
I mean, if Karl Malone had a chip, I think that agenda could run. At least to some degree, to a solid degree. If you had a chip,
but you don't need to have a chip to be a great player. That's why Charles Barkley. No, you don't need a chip to cement yourself as a great player. And I think we need to get away from this. Obviously, to be an all-time great, yes, you need a chip. Oh, yeah. But to be considered a great player, you don't need a chip. It's fine. You'll be just one of the greatest players to never win. Technically, the way people will see Karl Malone, be like, this guy wasn't all-time great. He just ran into the greatest player of all time, so they won't mark him down.
I mean, Karl Malone and Barkley, they're great players.
Barkley better than Karl Malone, to be fair. But I don't really rate Karl Malone points and all that is more down to longevity. Yeah. I'm not really a big Karl Malone fan, and That's why you need to do more research for your own. Like, people need to do research. Don't just look at purely the numbers.
Yeah.
The mailman doesn't deliver on Sundays. He's had some massive catastrophes. Man.
I mean, Karl Malone and them guys there, yeah, they're great players. But if you want to go to upper echelon, you need to be an all-time great player. You need to win a chip. I'm sorry, there's guys that, because at the end of the day, winning is a big part of a legacy. And
You've got individual accolades, though.
You got individual accolades, but all-time great players, they have individual accolades and they have the winning. I mean, Karl Malone, he had a good enough team to, especially the 2 years Jordan wasn't there. That's what separates him.
No. He was never winning when Jordan wasn't there.
Why wasn't he winning?
Rockets were probably... The thing is, I'll tell you this. I keep on trying to tell you. When the Jazz were good, the league was more watered down.
Yeah.
So around the time when Jordan left, Jordan's second three-peat is not as good as his first three-peat. Mm-hmm. There was more teams in the league. The league was a bit more diluted. There wasn't that many stars. The stars were more evenly distributed per team. That's why the Bulls were so much better. Like, they got the 72-10 season because there were so many cuts. If you look at the bottom half, there were so many teams with less than 20 wins.
Yeah.
The second, so that's when the Jazz even started to capitalize because they had a team that had stayed together. The Rockets were on the decline. The Sonics had one good season, then Kemp fell off. Yeah. And who else was there another time?
GP.
The Suns had fallen apart as well.
Yeah.
That's when the Jazz wanted to prove that the Jazz weren't that great. Were never probably that great. Is when the Bulls broke down and they had a chance to win. Who won?
Yeah, I'm saying. As I said, when the Bulls weren't there, when Jordan wasn't there and the Bulls weren't as good as they obviously would have been, you couldn't get me one. You let Hakeem clean up two. You couldn't get me one.
And after they had a chance, they had the 50 game season. They still didn't win. The Spurs won, so they were never going to win. They would never had a chance of winning. They never had a chance of winning.
Obviously, unfortunately, the mailman Karl Malone, like I said, doesn't live on Sundays, and that's why he shouldn't be in that team. I'd prefer if you put Hakeem in that team. If you want to keep it 90s and 80s, put someone like Hakeem. Hakeem, has a very credible shot of being a top 10 player all the time. Karl Malone, you'll be lucky to be top 15. Very lucky. More time it's between 15 and 30.
Well, Hakeem did too. Shaq, Paul. People need to put more credit on his name. What this is Shaq that time.
But something even more egregious than what Julius Erving said is one Scott Brooks, the coach of the Washington Wizards, who were just about to scrape into the play-in, is what he said, and I quote, "I used to always say he's going to probably go down as the third best point guard ever, but I think he's past one and he's going to go down as possibly the second best one. One is obviously Magic Johnson, as we know. What he does, there's no point guard that's ever done it. Nobody, Brooks said." So Scott Brooks is saying that Russell Westbrook is going to be the second best point guard of all time when it's all said and done. I mean, like you said before, the statistics, the numbers, people get to people's heads. Just look at statistics, stat sheets, and basically people just start accountants and economists right now. They just look at stats and all stuff of that nature. They don't actually watch the game because that's what Scott Brooks sounds like. Even as a coach,
the only thing I'm going to allow Scott Brooks to get away with is that he's his player and he nurtured him. So obviously he's going to say these great, going to say glowing things. That's what I will say.
Fair enough.
And secondly, Oscar Robertson speaks glowingly about Russell Westbrook as well, because if he speaks glowingly about Russell, it makes him look good because he was getting the triple doubles. Yeah, so that's another one. And then when it comes down to point guards, I like Westbrook can't. I don't even think Westbrook being top 10 point guard of all time is even. It's more of a discussion like who you like. There's a lot of guys better than him at the point guard position. But being a point guard as a pro athlete though, like. Yeah. As a pro entertainer, Westbrook's one of the top, man. It's up there. I would love to see Westbrook live. His tenaciousness, his athleticism, but as a point guard, I've never really rated him, and I would never even consider him as a top 5 or point guard of all time.
He has a case.
He just has a statistical case. Is he better than Chris Paul?
No, he has a case for maybe top 10. Well, I think when he finishes, he'll probably be in the top 10, maybe the back end of top 10, like maybe 9 or 10, unless he managed to win the championship.
We can list point guards better than him.
There's a lot of point guards better than him.
I've got. Okay, so you've got Magic, Steph, Isaiah, John Stockton, CP3. Who else? I'm trying to think. Now, who can I...
Jason Kidd.
Jason Kidd is above him. Steve Nash.
Walt Fraser.
No.
When they go back,
The Walt one.
Walt Fraser, he won a chip.
Yeah, he won a chip.
When they go back all the years, people might say Bob Cousy.
No, Bob Cousy, bro. If you look at his stats, he was in a stack. Not many teams there, but I want to put Bob Cousy above Russell Westbrook.
Some people might say Allen Iverson, but I don't think so.
AI is a shooting guard. It's basically a zero guard.
Some people might say Chauncey
I
Billups.
think Kyrie's better than him.
Some people say Kyrie.
I wouldn't say Chauncey Billups. I wouldn't. Nah.
Hey,
Chauncey Billups is part of our iconic team, but I wouldn't say he's better than
Big Shot Billups.
And then this. Is Rondo better as a point guard than Russell Westbrook?
I'd rather choose Rondo to win me a game or a series, maybe, like the playoff, because he's more calculated. But overall, I don't think he's better than Rondo because I don't think Rondo's better than him because I don't think Rondo could do enough by himself. Like I don't think if Rondo was the best player on the team, I believe they'll struggle to, get 7 and 8 seed, that type of thing.
When all said and done, do you think Ja Morant will have a better career than
Potentially. That's how it goes. I mean, Ja Morant, because he's athletic just like Russell Westbrook, we need to see if he has that poise. That's what's needed. The poise. You have the poise, the calmness, the control.
How about Lillard?
Lillard has a good shout. I mean,
that just tells what it is. Like Westbrook's, it's very debatable. Like with Steph can easily say I'm number 2.
Yeah.
Steph could say at one point, maybe if Steph were to win another chip, I can say I'm the best point guard to ever play this game.
You'll never say that.
Bro, just watch. If he wins one, if he wins one more, he's discussing.
He's not in the discussion.
He's in the discussion. 4 chips.
Imagine got
4 chips and he gets an MVP and a finals MVP.
Imagine got 5 chips, 3 MVPs, 3 finals MVPs. I think Steph needs at least...
So one more finals. He wins the MVP. And remember, he's the only ever unanimous MVP.
Yeah.
And he wins the finals MVP.
I think Steph, if he wants to get in a Magic conversation, he needs another 2 more finals and he needs 2 finals MVPs. If he gets that, then fair enough, we're talking. But I can never put him above Magic if right now he has 0 finals MVPs and if he only has 1. He needs at least 2.
Yeah.
I mean, the things that Magic done, especially Magic.
Magic's just an iconic figure for the game, but
Magic.
It's like Larry Bird, but
as a rookie, jumping center, messing with the Philadelphia 76ers, Julius Erving's team.
Do you know what Bird was doing to him though?
Bird was into
Magic. Bird won 3 MVPs in a row,
Yeah.
He's the only man to ever do that.
He's not the only man to ever do that.
He's won 3.
I believe, wasn't he thinking done it? Will or Bill Ross, I swear one of them's done it.
It'd probably be all.
Well, yeah, if Bird didn't have his injuries.
No, probably.
Actually, they might have done double up, but I saw one of them's done it.
I know Kareem won 6 and 10.
But Steph Curry...
for Larry to win 3 in a row, that's mad.
I mean, Steph Curry needs to get above Isaiah Thomas first.
He's above Isaiah, man.
Let's get above.
Steph and Isaiah are very from the same ilk, though. People need to put more credit on Isaiah's name, though. I don't like the way people talk about Isaiah, man. I don't like it.
I mean, as what Isaiah's done, going through those teams in the 80s, coming out on top, especially towards the back end of the 80s.
No, the way people talk about Isaiah, I don't like it. That's revisionist history on MJ's part.
How do people talk about him?
Just don't give him the respect he deserves.
I think
it should have been on that team, bro. He should have been on the dream team, man. Give the guy respect, man.
I think the thing with Isaiah, he used to have, because he averaged like just under 20 and just under 10 assists a game.
But it's a team. They're playing a team kind of basketball.
But yeah, that number of assists and that number of points. But the thing is, Isaiah used to put up like 20 plus and 10 plus assists before he started winning like in the early 80s. But then obviously he had a presence of mind.
He learned the secret.
To alter his game, to get less stats, more about the team, get the ball moving. That'll lead to more wins. I mean, he could have even got another chip if he didn't get injured in that finals against the Lakers.
That's the Lakers. My guy Joe Dumas, shout out to him as well, bro. What a great team builder as well.